تشغيل. هذه المية ترى ما قد تتكلم. ناصر ارحم محمد ونور. ايوه ناصر. الو هلا شباب شاشة العرض شاشة العرض الحبال ابكى الحبال حق الحبال يا شباب بدأ يا شباب بدأ.
When you're no longer on probation or parole, you have the right to register to vote. Another thing that was just brought to my attention is an initiative called the Orange, which is happening not just in Houston, but all over the country. If you're in jail currently during pre-trial, but you have not been you're still in jail waiting for your day in court, you are still eligible to vote.
And you said something so key. They work so hard to hope that we stay uninformed, but more importantly, to suppress the black vote. If you could do one thing with this message that we're trying to send today about how important voting is, what type of images would you like people to understand and see when they go to these polls and vote?
I think the images that we've all seen, you know what I'm saying, for decades in this country, if not centuries in this country, we've seen black people oppressed, we've seen black people attacked. So every time you look back and you see those old black and white images of people of color being attacked by dogs and people of color being sprayed with hoses, that's what they were fighting for. Back then, they were just fighting for a chance to vote. People like Martin Luther King Jr., people like Malcolm X, these people died to help us be in a position to have the power that we have now, which is to be able to cast a vote and make a decision about the people that have control over our lives. So, I mean, if you in your own community need a reason to vote, look at a person like George Floyd. If the people in your city are not open to police reform, are not open to having a conversation about defunding the police, are not open to issues concerning economic equality, judicial equality, and racial equality, right? If they're scared to say Black Lives Matter, you have the power to put people in those positions who do believe that Black Lives Matter, who do believe in racial equality, economic equality, judicial equality, right? Who see us as human beings. And if the people in your community don't feel that way, vote them out. It's that simple. You just vote them out. You don't have enough time to sit around and hope that people change their minds.
Yeah, Bumby, you point out something so important. We have the power. And that is in our vote, and that is with our voice, and that's how we use our voice. I think of where we are right now. People say this is a particular moment, but it is a movement, not just a moment, it is a movement. Why, in your opinion, was it George Floyd's death? Why was that the chosen brutality for people to say, oh my God, black people are still oppressed in this country, and it is not fair?
I think it's twofold, Carrie. In so many different encounters between people of color and the police, there simply is no proof of what happened in the interaction. And so what happens is it tends to lean towards the policeman's point of view, right? In this case, we saw very clearly what happened. I think the other thing is due to the fact that everyone
تنتين بنت راح تدخل وأربعة أولاد.
You couldn't avoid it. Right? It was on every television station. It was on every social media platform. Everywhere you turned, you were constantly hit upside the head with this message. You see in the interaction that this man did nothing to deserve what happened.
It's so well said, because if you think about it, in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't worth it, and he didn't have to lose his life. I think that you touched on something that a lot of people talk about, and that is now defunding the police. That has been such a huge conversation, but there's so many misconceptions around defunding and dismantling. If you will, educate the audience.
All right, so most people when they hear the term defund the police, they tend to think of, they're going to take away our police department. Nothing could be further from the point. Defunding the police means that in certain communities, in Houston, for example, we had over $1 billion allocated to our police force. Now, what is that money being used for? Some of that money tends to be allocated towards riot shields, right? Pepper spray, right? That kind of thing. That's only used against the people that fund this budget. right? So why would the people
لا
want
تحسب أنت
to
أكثر
supply
إنجليزي
the
بس
police
حتى
with the
أنا.
means to oppress them? If the police are concerned about the situation in
وين
certain communities with a
أينك
higher crime rate,
يعني
well,
أينك يعني
higher crime
وير
rates tend to happen in
وير
communities where
شباب وير
there's not employment opportunities, right? There's not a lot of social services, and people are going to do what they need to do to take care of themselves and their families. When the community has more opportunities for employment, more opportunities for upward mobility, then they tend to be less of a strain on the government. They tend to have a lower crime rate, and because of that, we'll have less need for the police in those communities.
You are passionate about so many different things in terms of
What
making
if-
sure
what
that
if-
we are holding our leaders
شباب
accountable. Talk to me
what
about
if
some of the other
what
projects
if
Well,
What
right now,
if-
obviously, being a part of more than a
what
vote is essential. We're dealing
يعني
with
وخر
primaries in this
ويفهم مني
country
وخر
right now,
راح تكلم
and we just want to educate people. We want to inform people because people are tired, they're angry, they're concerned, and they want information and they want
وين
action.
خلق ورايا
And so we
بيهن
want to make sure that we give them the right information
بيهن
and lead them in the right direction. And we thank the people that do not look like us for standing with us right now, because it's very important that people who aren't black be involved, because if black people could have gotten rid of racism, we would have done it hundreds of years ago. And so I'm trying to use my voice and my platform just to let people know that if they feel like I do, there's a number of places they can go to enact change in their community. People need to know about how their city council runs. They need to know that they have the ability to speak when city council meets, to let them know that that's not the way that they feel their city needs to be run. Those are not the places that they feel the money of their community needs to be allocated.
And but be even a step further, they can run for office in their local community. They can run for positions. Like, people act like they leave it up to somebody else. If you're upset, it's not hard to get on the school board. It's not
هي
hard to be a
لابسة
part of the city
وشو
council. It really isn't. And depending on how small your town is, you could be a mayor. It's
Green
the power is
لابسة
with the people,
green
and we need to just
هي
know
لابسة
that
green
that's
وهو
happening.
لابس
Absolutely. And it's always been with the people. You know, if you look
أبيض
at Trayvon Martin's mother, Sabrina Fulton,
green
right?
يعني
She felt
أخضر
that there was
يستو
a system of racism,
green
a system
يعني
of
أخضر
oppression
ومع
that led to her son's death. And so what did she do? She ran for city council, and she was elected city council. Our own former president, 44, Barack Obama,
مع
right,
بنات
started in
ومع
the community as
بنفسجي
an activist,
ومع
ran for an elected position, became senator, ran for
الجواني
another elected position, became president of the United States. So don't
وهذا
think that you
لابس
can't make a
بلاك
difference. You know what I'm saying? You don't need
قبوع
a
بلاك
lot of money. You don't need a lot of power. Your voice is
يا
enough to make
رجال
a
خلاص
difference.
Amen. I feel
طلع
like I need to
صلاته
go out and run for something. You gave me a rousing speech there, sir. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you this. When I
نايف خلي
talk to
يطلع صلاته
my brothers, I have to ask you, as a black man, how are you doing? Are you okay?
I'm good. I'm good. I have a very strong relationship with God, so prayer definitely works for me. I have children and grandchildren who are watching me, who are encouraged by what I do, and they're proud of me right now, you know, and that's really what matters, you know. The change starts at home, you know, so as long as you have a support system that believes in what you're doing and supports you in what you're doing, you have everything you need to go out there and fight the good fight. And for those that don't, there's a community of people here to help you. So you can go to places like morethanavote.org. There are many different places that will encourage you, inform you, and they will put you with groups of people that feel like you, that are ready to take action. So no one has to go about this alone if they want to do it.
هنا
We're stronger together. People have been
Okay,
saying it,
sir.
but that has
خلاص
much
هو
more meaning now that we are in our movement, not just this movement. Lumbi, it has been an education, always a pleasure. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Keep fighting the good fight.
Keep up the good fight.
So our next guest, I have to admit, I'm a fan.
هذه أختها يا شباب هذه أختها
So imperative that we speak with her. You know her as Molly on the huge
هذه
successful
أختها تشوفونها هذه
HBO's
أختها
Insecure. She also has a comedy special highlighting her Nigerian roots, and she's an amazing podcaster. Let's welcome in Yvonne. You have such a beautiful way of making
لا
us
أتوقع هذه أختها هذيك نفسها صح؟ هي نفسها هذه لا هذه استغفر الله ما أختها أحسب هذيك اللي لابس
You know, I'm rediscovering self in a way that is hard but necessary, that will lead to ultimate joy. I know it sounds like a lot, but
شفتي اللي لابسة جرين أحسبها أختها أحسبها من تنتين لابسين جرين.
You know, America hasn't done as good as other people when it comes to timeouts because everyone else is out playing at recess, and we're still in the principal's office hoping and wishing we can come out. But I think that if we settle into the timeout and really learn the lesson that we're supposed to learn from the season, I think we'll emerge better. We'll learn how to play well with others in more ways than one. And so personally for me, I'm taking to learn me in a new way. I feel like I'm being ushered into a new season, and I'm getting still. Because sometimes the busy confounds the work that we're supposed to actually be doing. You know, we're busy doing other stuff, but we got work that we need to do on the inside. And I'm leaning into it. I'm like, dang, I thought I was gonna be able to rest like everybody else. And this guy's like, nah, we got work to do.
You know what? And I think that's what everybody is saying about 2020. It's demanding that we be better. And you said it's a global timeout. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, it's like everyone sit down, be humble, to quote the great prophet Kendrick Lamar. But like, let's reevaluate the things. Let us unearth and shake up the things that we have been trying to hide within ourselves, within our nation. I think America is going through an unraveling right now, a much needed, a much necessary one, and I think all eyes on us, right? There is no, oh, I was on the subway for an hour, so I didn't miss that thing that happened. No. Everybody, you know, was watching when George Floyd died, and everybody, no one could hide it. Everyone was watching when Amy Cooper called the cops. Like, this is a time where it's like, oh, we can't pretend it away. We can't excuse it away. No. It's a global timeout. Sit down, watch, and let's learn. And globally, it's like, hey, we were going business as usual, but it ain't usual no more. Like that's old. Anytime change occurs, it's very uncomfortable. And so right now we're sitting with we're getting we're getting comfortable with the uncomfortable.
The minorities, we've been comfortable with being uncomfortable because that to me explains just the existence for whatever we want to do, how we break into our careers, how we live our lives, how we find ourselves one of the few or one of the first. And that's a lone timeout. Everybody had to pay attention to Amy Cooper. Everyone had to pay attention to George Floyd. How is that helping us as a people, as a country during our global timeout?
I think, well, one, we're not minorities, Carrie. You already know it. It's like these labels that they put on us. It's like the same way of saying like black on black violence. Also, there's no white on white violence. It's branding.
Yeah,
right. It's all branding.
Yeah, you're right.
It's like white people kill white people every single day. So no, there is no black on black violence. And if you say black on black violence, well then let's brand white on white violence. Like I watched Investigation Discovery. Ain't too many of us been featured. So, you know, I just even like, to answer your question, what does that do? I think what everyone expected is what has happened in the past when the world was still open, right? In that, okay, you had everyone, from Trayvon Martin to Castillo to Sandra Bland, you had all of these lives lost, and Black people made some noise. You know, we rioted, we got out in the streets, we started the Black Lives Matter movement, all of those things. And then white people kind of just like, oh, let's give them something. And then it's just like, is it over? It's like Oscars so black. Okay, good. We gave some Oscars. Are we good now? Like, are we even? You know, and it's just like, oh no. This is not about like a banner.
ايش تقول مازن
But it's all right because by amputating the leg, we're gonna say
ناصر ايش فيك على حسابي
that's what's happening now. Like America is realizing like, oh, Black people aren't just making a little bit of noise. Like the protests are still out. The conversations are still being had.
يطلع برا ذا الحدث تزق.
And I think they're seeing
زقت معاي اقسم بالله زقت معايا